Okay, so Bradley Wiggins has been criticised by some because he's released his new book, and in that book he names some athletes that he looked up to as inspiration to become a better sportsman himself and then go on to win the Tour de France. And one of those athletes is Lance Armstrong, the former disgraced cyclist. But in the same sentence, he's also critical of Lance Armstrong. He says, I looked up to him because of him defeating cancer and getting back into sport and achieving so much. What came out after he retired, he is critical about, the sport at the time. He says, I'm not praising him for his cheating, I'm praising for him defeating cancer and getting back on the bike. And being a role model in that sense is like you can get over a severe illness like that and beat the illness. But he has come under criticism. I think he could have possibly done things slightly differently in either his press release or in his book, but this is his choice, this is his autobiography, this is his story. And cycling is a sport which has an issue with doping and an image problem. Whether you think Chris Froome cheated or not, or whether you think Wiggins is cheated or not, or Contador, or whatever cyclist wins the Tour de France on given year, there's going to be accusations since Lance Armstrong of that rider is doping. And several riders that have won the Tour de France since Lance Armstrong retired have been caught with doping offences or been accused of it. Wiggins is no different with the Jiffy Bag scandal, so even he's been under the spotlight. But he has been criticised for, naming Lance Armstrong as one of his idols growing up as a younger cyclist, looking up to as a role model. But this is his autobiography that has been compiled over a period of time. And in his press release, he says, yes, at the time I looked up to Lance Armstrong, now I am critical of what he did. He even says that. So, I haven't read the book yet, but I have read his press release. And to be fair, he is critical of Lance Armstrong in the fact that he cheated. But at the same time, he did look up to him for what he defeated, which was cancer. And a very severe form of cancer at the point where he was like death's door, kind of gonna die, and surmounted that. The fact that Lance Armstrong has come across, what's come out about Lance Armstrong isn't great. The Livestrong Foundation has raised millions of dollars for cancer research. Whatever you may think of Lance Armstrong, that charity has raised millions, if not tens of millions, in donations for cancer research. So some good has come out of the Lance Armstrong saga. Particularly, the image has been stained somewhat, but some good has come out of it. But he has been criticised, and whether that's fair or not, it's subjective. Am I critical of cycling as a sport? Yes. Do I enjoy watching it less? Yes. Is cycling a cleaner sport now than when Lance Armstrong was in? Most likely, yes. There is far greater scrutiny now on doping in cycling than there was 10, 15 years ago. It still happens. There's always going to be cheats in sport, but the fact it was so institutionalised 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it takes a while to break that institutionalisation. And people like Wiggins coming out and saying what they're saying possibly helps the process, not in the short term, maybe in the long term. Because he is critical of Lance Armstrong in the book, but there's also a point in the book where he says, look, I did look up to him. Now, I don't. But, swings and roundabouts. But there we go. He's been criticised by some, not all. And you have to read through his full press statement and interview to really get an understanding of where he's coming from. But there we go. But then Bradley Wiggins has done so much for cycling as well, and he is not also free from controversy. So, more things come out every day about ex-sportsmen or current sportsmen or whatever it may be, or eras of sport that we didn't know before. And conjecture is a dangerous thing. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.